Okay, in this video I want to talk about mindset for competition. I'm going to share a few experiences that have helped me a lot. The first was early 2000s. I'd been competing for a few years, but when I would go into competition, I didn't really have a plan, and I would just try to make sure that the opponent didn't do whatever they were trying to do. If they go for my leg, I make sure they don't have it. I kind of see what opportunities are there and take them. But I saw a big change in my results when I shifted from focusing on what I didn't want the opponent to do to focusing on what I wanted to do. And one technique was starting to see the highlight reel of all my best moves over and over and over. That made me excited to get in there and compete rather than nervous about what might happen, what might go wrong. So that highlight reel has been a really, really useful tool for me. And one of the things that when people are nervous, so I'll say this to a student, right, like when they're competing, but at any point when someone's dealing with nervousness, what is nervousness? Well, how does it manifest in the body? Butterflies in the stomach, sweaty palms, accelerated heart rate, shortness of breath. It's not necessarily the most pleasant feeling. But I ask them at the same time, well, what are the physical manifestations of excitement? Accelerated heart rate, shortness of breath, sweaty palms, butterflies in the stomach. These are the exact same feeling. So what is going on? Nervousness comes from thinking about what we don't want to have happen. Excitement comes from thinking about what we do want to have happen. Now, is it easy in the moment to shift that? Not necessarily, and that's where it's really important to have a game plan, because it allows you to just say, okay, whatever's going on, whatever I'm nervous about, go back to what you do want to have happen. And having that highlight reel mapped out or that game plan written out can be useful, because it allows you to shift your focus directly to what you do want. Now, one of my big breakthroughs with mindset came in 2009. I was competing in the Abu Dhabi Pro Trials, the first Abu Dhabi Pro Trials. The winner gets a trip to compete in Abu Dhabi. There's an awesome story behind it, but just focusing on the competition. I was a purple belt competing in a mixed purple, brown, black division. Hadn't really competed in basically 5 years. In the last, I had one or two competitions the year prior, but got injured in the previous one. So got onto the train with a lot of doubt. But my friend Jamie Huco, who owns Aries MMA in Australia now, he gave me a book, Mind Gym, that changed everything. I got off the train confident. And there's so many great ideas in Mind Gym that we can make a whole video on it, but one of them was really powerful and that I share with a lot of students. Last night I was talking with a student who's been dealing with some doubt, and one thing I said to him is that I got from Mind Gym is we all have a voice constantly speaking in our head. It's either a negative critic or a positive coach. And most of us don't even realize that voice is there. So we're just kind of victim to whatever it's saying, let alone, the idea of having control over it. Your job is not to try to get the positive coach talking. Your first job is just to notice who is talking. If you notice that it's the negative coach, great. Don't try to change that. Get good at noticing it, because your ability to influence who's speaking depends on your ability to just identify who's speaking. You can't decide to pass the close guard until you recognize that you're in the close guard. So beginners, especially before they really have a lay of the land, they'll be trying to cross-face an underhook, and then the person that gets their guard back, and they're still cross-facing an underhook in the closed guard and underhooking in the closed guard, because they haven't identified that the situation has changed. Our ability to identify situations is the underlying skill that allows us to then choose the right response. So building the skill of identifying, the negative critic rather, is what will then give you the ability later to choose how to, or to choose to, or insist that we get the positive coach talking. Now, it may be difficult to get the positive coach talking. You got all these doubts. Okay, I recognize the negative coach is speaking, negative critic is speaking. What can I do? Well, if it doesn't feel natural to just switch to positive coach, one thing you can do is at least ask, okay, what would the positive coach say? Well, they'd say, yes, I did lose the last tournament, but I'm actually better for it. I've learned from that, and I've put in the time and energy and the hard work to work on that. And so just asking a question like that, what would the positive coach say, can kind of ease you into, once you've built the skill of identifying that, okay, the negative coach is speaking right now, can ease you into switching that. One of the problems with recognizing or learning that, okay, we were dealing with doubt and we've got the negative coach speaking is we can often feel like it's just us. Like we're the only ones dealing with that, and there's something wrong with us as a result of it, as a result of that. So we feel even weirder for it. So so just take a quick note. Mind gym was really helpful. The idea of nervousness versus excitement being the same feeling, focusing on what you want. So back to the positive coach, negative critic. Learning to identify that the negative critic is speaking, asking what would the positive coach say, can help you make that shift and really manage the doubt. And again, we're all dealing with this. Even the most elite competitors, except maybe Gordon Ryan, who has all the confidence in the world, but everyone else gets onto goes up to the competition, and just the excitement, nervousness, whatever of it can cause these thoughts to come in, and it's natural fight or flight instinct that we want to avoid danger. So the brain's going to come up with these reasons that things may not go our way. It's natural. That's part of the process. So learning to shift our mind there can be really helpful. Again, there's so many more elements that we can talk about around mindset, but don't want to make this too long. Maybe down the line, if there's interest, we can get into that. But these are just a few hacks that have helped me a lot, and I hope they help you. We'll see you on the mats.